Hello, I'm Greg Thomson and welcome to another edition of NEAFL Eastern Footy Talk. It was a super weekend, no doubt about that. The Sydney Hills Eagles are back in form. The UWS Giants are now 2 in a row and they're coming to the capital for a big game against Eastlake in an AFL curtain raiser. Let's take a look at all the action from round 5 in the NEAFL Eastern Conference. A trip to Queensland was no holiday for Eastlake, going down to Mount Gravatt in a cross-conference clash. Aaron Bruce and Hayden Armstrong were handy up forward with 5 goals between them, but it was the home side who led from half-time and kicked clear. Mount Gravatt 14-18 102, Eastlake 12-15 87. The UWS Giants led in every quarter with their game against the unbeaten Queanbeyan Tigers. A late fight back in the fourth by Queanbeyan caused a fright. The Giants hung on despite kicking only 7 points in the final stanza. UWS 14-14 98, Queanbeyan 13-16 94. The Sydney Hills Eagles returned to the winner's circle in a big way with a hard-fought win over Belconnen. It was a seesawing affair between the two teams at Bruce Purser. Matthew Lokan and Gus Seebeck went goal for goal up forward at opposite ends. Sydney Hills got the better of them in the fourth, kicking away 20-16 136 to 16-6 102. It was a bloodbath at the SCG with the Swans reserves annihilating the Tuggeranong Hawks. The Battle of the Birds wasn't a contest. Sydney were brilliant. Mitch Morton with a game-high tally of 7, more than the Hawks got in total. 32-21 213 to 6-5 41. And no joy for the Ainslie Football Club, knocked out of the Foxtel Cup against West Perth. Thanks for being with us for another week of NEAFL Eastern Footy Talk. I'm Greg Thomson, and with us as co-host for this week is a former Collingwood Magpies player turned coach and player for the Belconnen Magpies. He cannot get away from the Pies. Matthew Lokan joins us this week. Lokes, good to see you.
How are you?
Nice to have you on board.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's fantastic to finally come in and do the show.
Mate, it is going gangbusters. Thanks for everyone for watching. Well, let's talk about your former glory days at Collingwood. Tell us about the AFL, your career, and how did you end up in Belconnen?
Yeah, mate, obviously fantastic time to play at the highest level at such a successful club like Collingwood. It was fantastic. Seems like a long time ago now. A bit younger back then, had a bit more hair. So really enjoyed it. Mick Moldhouse, probably the best coach ever. Fantastic to play under him, and obviously with Nathan Buckley and those type of guys that obviously had successful footy careers.
Do you idolise Mick Moldhouse, and do you bring to your troops what he did for you in your playing days?
Yeah, so I've been really lucky. I've had some really good coaches. Tony Bamford back at Port Magpies last year. Obviously Mick, and Guy McKenna was our assistant, Gavin Brown. So I've had some fantastic guys to sort of base my footy around. So you sort of take a bit from the different guys, but it's certainly Mick. How can you go past some of the things that he's done in footy?
Absolutely, and obviously you spent some time in South Australia in the SANFL before going east to the nation's capital. Tell us about your time in Adelaide post-AFL career.
Yeah, so I grew up in Adelaide, so I went back and played for Port Magpies in the SANFL, and grew up going for Port Magpies as a kid. So to play 100 games for them, fantastic for myself and also my family, because we grew up supporting the club. And now I've moved over here to Canberra to the Belconnen Magpies, and really enjoying my time. Not sure about this cold weather already, but no, really enjoying my time here, and we've got a fantastic football club at Belconnen. Well,
let's take a look at some of the vision from the weekend's game at Bruce Purser against the Sydney Hills Eagles. It was a seesawing affair between the two sides, no doubt about that. Matthew up forward, Lokan, mate, you absolutely nailed it. 4 goals, you've still got it in a big way, the left foot, mate.
Yeah, I've been struggling in the last few weeks, so it was nice to go forward and take a few marks, kick a few goals. But as coach now, you tend to put your performances in the back burner, and obviously the team hasn't been playing 4 quarters, so we need to get more consistent, because we know that our best is good enough, but we just need to do more of it.
Your ruck in particular is fantastic with Boyd and Rarts and Porter. I mean, some of these big units are going gangbusters early on, and you put them forward, they're getting a few sneaky goals as well. Yeah,
Ports has been really good for us in the ruck. He's been fantastic, and to give guys like Matt Sharp, Shane Harris first use of the footy has been really good for us. Stuart Boyd come in on the weekend and played his first game for this year, and Big Rarts, he's been around forever, and he's doing a great job. So yeah, we've got some big guys. We just need to be more efficient with the footy and lift our foot skills a little bit more, and hopefully we'll have a few more wins and sneak into the 5.
Disappointing result of the weekend for your mob, but the Sydney Hills Eagles are continuing to impress. Fantastic form from there at Bruce Purser, and of course they'll be looking to make it into the finals. Do you think they are a top 5 team?
Yeah, I do. Look, the competition's so tight, so whoever sneaks into those sort of 3rd, 4th and 5th spots will need to keep playing good footy. Look, they're a fantastic side. They got Ryan Houlihan, Jamie Vladko, Big Gus in the ruck and down forward, kicked a few goals. So look, they got some quality players, and they'll be up there this year for sure. All right, well, let's take a look at the NEAFL Eastern ladder after 5 rounds of the competition. And as you saw earlier in our wrap at the start of the show, Queanbeyan went down, but they're still on top alongside the Sydney Hills Eagles on percentage, followed by the Swans Reserves. They had a massive win, as we saw. Eastlake and Ainslie round out the top 5. The UWS Giants, 2 wins in a row. They're on 8 points as well, but percentage has them outside of the finals race at this point in time of the competition. Followed by your mob, Matthew, Belconnen, 6 points, followed by Sydney Uni and Tuggeranong still have a firm grip on the wooden spoon at this point in time. Well, do stay with us, Lokes. We've got plenty more to get through, including a lighter side at Belconnen Magpies. Some interesting stuff coming up. Do stay with us. NEAFL Eastern Footy Talk returns after this. If you can't get to the game, don't stress. NEAFL TV's got you covered with the match of the round streamed live via the NEAFL website. This week's game of the round is Queanbeyan and Sydney University from Dairy Farmers at 11:45 a.m. on Sunday. For all the details, head to the neafl.com.au website. Welcome back to NEAFL Eastern Footy Talk. Matthew Lokan from the Belconnen Magpies is our guest host for this week. And we've got a new segment on NEAFL Eastern Footy Talk, lookalikes. There are plenty of them, and one of them has been sent in for us. Let's take a look at the first lookalike for this week. So here it is, one of your boys. Matthew, who is that? Yeah, it's Dom Bunyan. He's a ripper guy. And that is one of the best lookalikes I've seen. It's Dale Steyn, the South African cricketer. A South African bowler. That is an absolute dead ringer. They are related. Cousins. Yeah, it's fantastic. Brothers or something. Dom does fancy himself as a bit of a cricketer as well, and yeah, it's a ripper. It's one of the best. Does he speak South African as well? No, he doesn't. He's a bit different, Dom, but he's a great guy, and yeah, that's a ripper lookalike. So who sent that in, and how did that come up? And have you given? So the boys have always, the boys have always got into him a little bit about looking like Dale Steyn, and so I think it might have come from Cam Campbell, our general manager. Cameron, some of your finest work, mate. All right. Well, if you have lookalikes for us next week, I've got a feeling plenty more will be coming through over the next couple of weeks and months for that matter. Here's the email address on screen, neaflfootytalk@gmail.com. Well, plenty of clubs in the NEAFL Eastern Conference are also getting the camera going behind the scenes, taking an in-depth look at what goes on behind closed doors. And of course, your boys, Matthew, at Belconnen are embracing this in a big way. Tell us about Wombat Weekly. What is that about on your website? Yeah, it's an initiative that the club's taken up this year. Stephen Code, our development officer, did struggle a little bit with talking in front of the camera and speaking in front of groups. So we've put him, his Wombat Weekly up, and he speaks to a few different guys around the club and asks some questions. And it's fantastic, not only for Sav's development, but also for the club as well. And you've got it on your website, yeah? Yeah, it's on the website. I think it's under videos, and each week Sav interviews a new person and goes up on the website. All right, well, we have got some best bits of Wombat Weekly, courtesy of Stephen Coate, or Sav, as they call him. Let's take a look.
Favourite pickup line?
Don't need one, mate, when you look like this.
Who's your favourite player at the club?
Oh, Steve, it's got to be you, mate. Goodness me, I've followed you since you're in nappies.
What thing are you known for at the club? For example, I'm the silly tie guy. What are you known for?
The funniest.
Funny guy? Best looking at the club?
Me.
Worst looking at the club?
Hammer.
Who has the most attractive misses at the club? Can't say your own, Olmar Douglas.
I don't know about misses, but there's a couple of definitely good-looking sisters floating around.
Can you say which wristwatches are Swiss wristwatches fast as you can.
No, I cannot.
Have a crack.
Well, show me. Which wrist watches? What else did you say? Something like that?
Well, some brilliant work there. Wombat Weekly, of course. You can check it out on the Belconnen Magpies website. That was absolutely brilliant, mate. How about the dancing magpie?
Yeah, it's great. Matt Hammond, our marketing manager, yeah, he does a good job. He can move, and he does rate himself too. So, no, it's fantastic. And I first saw that at our Best and Fairest last year, which was my first official function. And yeah, got a good laugh out of the guys.
And Sav might have a career in the media after his playing days, perhaps.
Yeah, he does a good job, Sav. He cops a bit of flack around the club, but he's a great kid, and he's playing some really good footy at the moment. He
is on the weekend against the Sydney Hills Eagles. All right, well, back to some serious stuff, and there is a big game of footy being played here at Manuka Oval on the weekend. Of course, the first curtain raiser for the GWS Giants clash against the Western Bulldogs. And one of their star players, Phil Davis, one of the co-captains, caught up with NEAFL Eastern Footy Talk to get his thoughts about the GWS and UWS Giants coming to the nation's capital.
So obviously, start of the year, lost to Sydney, and then we lost to Brisbane. So it was a bit of a slow start. We had a fair few injuries and getting more players back on the park. We've had 2 really good wins in a row. Had the East Coast Eagles 2 weeks ago, had a good win over them. And then obviously on the weekend we played Queensland, who are the league leaders, and got the result by 3 points and just snuck over the line there. So I think their form's definitely improving, and they've got some really good young players up there. That's going to be a big game for them. Hopefully the crowd comes up nice and early and watch them. We've got some very good young players. You know, Canberra boy Josh Bruce might be playing for them or might be playing in the ones against the Western Bulldogs. So it'll be an opportunity to see a player who's grown up in Canberra and turned into a very good footballer. We train together all week until the Friday, until the day before the game, and so weights, training, main training sessions, recovery, etc. is all together. And then once we get to the Friday before the game, we'll separate and they'll do their session with about the 22 that are playing, and then we'll do our with the 22 that plays in the ones. So you know, they're definitely showing some huge improvements, and you'll see in the next 2 to 3 weeks that 4 or 5 or 6 of them will move up and play AFL and make their debut, which is very exciting for the football club.
GWS Giants co-captain Phil Davis there, and Matthew, if I can bring you in, some interesting points he made about the UWS Giants and GWS Giants training together as a whole. That must be an incredible experience for the young kids playing in the NEAFL, who are one day, and as Phil suggested, could very soon be playing in the AFL.
Yeah, they've got a fantastic system that they've got going with their senior side and also their NEAFL side. So look, they're going to take some time to develop both grades. But geez, there's some talented players in both teams. There
certainly is, and they take on Eastlake at Manuka Oval, and we caught up with Anthony Burke, the Eastlake coach, to get his thoughts about taking on the UWS Giants, who've won 2 in a row.
Definitely, first home game for us. We've been all over the shop, Tuggeranong, Queanbeyan, Sydney, Brisbane, so it's good to get one on our home turf. And like you said, great for footy in Canberra. GWS, home game here. Big crowd, early start for us, but it'll be okay, I think. Yeah, certainly. They've got probably pick of the crop of the young kids in the country, you could say. So they're going to have some inconsistency, but obviously at the moment they're rolling along pretty nicely. So it's going to be a challenge for us, something we're looking forward to, and us sitting 2-2, pretty important game for us as well.
Yeah, game on this weekend. Eastlake and the UWS Giants, of course. Eastlake got off to a very, very good start early on in the season. Now they're falling a bit behind, and as Anthony said, Matthew, it's going to be a very, very big game for them. Crunch time over at Eastlake, just in case they keep down the same track they're doing at the moment. Yeah, the competition's so evenly spread at the moment, and every week is vital. So, yeah, big game for Eastlake. We've got them in a couple of weeks, so it'll be a good chance for us to get down and have a look at that game as well. All right, should be an absolute belter. We will take a break. On the other side of it, we will have a comprehensive look at all the round 6 action happening in the Eastern Conference of the North East Australian Football League.
Get behind your team. For match details, head to neafl.com.au.
Hi, I'm Phil Davis from the GWS Giants, and you're watching the NEAFL Eastern Footy Talk.
Well, we'll take a look at all the round 6 action happening in the North East Australian Football League this weekend. Some ripper games. Do not worry about that. The first one is Eastlake and the UWS Giants at Manuka Oval. 9:30 a.m. bounce. That is an early start. Matthew, who do you think will get the points?
Look, it'll be a very close game. Like I said before, both sides are very even and won a couple of games. But I think the Giants might get over Eastlake on the weekend at Manuka. All
right, 3 straight for the Giants, if Matthew Lokan is correct. The next game is a cross-conference clash being held up at TIO Stadium in Darwin. It's the Northern Territory Thunder taking on the Swans Reserves. 6 p.m. bounce local time in the Northern Territory. Man, that's going to be an absolute belter.
Yeah, obviously the Swans have got some quality players in their side with AFL experience, and they're paid to train and to play football all week. So it'll be a big challenge for them though, going up to Darwin. But the NT side, look, they've got some quality players as well, so it should be a good clash.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Daniel Archer, former Eastlake coach, is now running the show at the NT Thunder. Best of luck to him and the Swans. It should be a good one, no doubt about that. All right, the next game is Queanbeyan and Sydney Uni at Dairy Farmers, which is the NEAFL game of the round, being broadcast live via neafl.com.au. 11:45 a.m. on Sunday. Queanbeyan had their first loss. Good to get it out of the way, no doubt. And Sydney Uni, well, they're coming off a bye. They'll have fresh legs, so this could be game on as well at Dairy Farmers.
Yeah, well, we played Sydney Uni a few weeks back now, and they were great. They were really good. We were lucky enough to get across the line, and Queanbeyan have obviously been in great form. So it should be another ripper game, but I think Queanbeyan might just get over the line.
Live coverage via neafl.com.au. I'll be joined by Michael Neeson, who was on the show last week. He'll be in the commentary box calling that one. Looking forward to it. Tuggeranong and the Sydney Hills Eagles at Greenway, Sunday 11:45 a.m. as well. Tuggeranong, will they need a win?
They do, and they probably should have against us on Good Friday, but we happened to steal the draw. And Sydney Hills Eagles are a fantastic side, so I expect Sydney Hills to win, but I think it'll be very close.
Another trip to the nation's capital for the Sydney Hills Eagles. You'd think on current form it will be hard for Tuggeranong to bounce back, but no doubt everyone down there at the Hawks will be hoping they can do that. And finally, your mob, Lokes, Belconnen and Ainslie, Manuka Oval, 2 p.m. on Sunday. This, I think, will be close. Your boys showed some very good form against the Sydney Hills Eagles. Ainslie have been struggling. They bounced back. They got a win over the Swans Reserves. Of course, no joy in the Foxtel Cup against West Perth. What do you make of Ainslie taking on the reigning Eastern Conference champions?
Yeah, we went down and watched the first quarter and a half of their game against West Perth, and look, they're a quality side, Ainslie. You don't win premierships and conference wins when you're not a good side. So it's going to be a tough ask for us. We've played them before. They're not unbeatable, I don't think. So I'm really looking forward to it, and we need to play 4 quarters of footy.
Played them in round 1. Do you think you've changed or improved much since then, and you really give it to them?
Yeah, we're starting to get a few guys back from injury now, so we could get the likes of Josh Hegarty, who came across from Sturt in the Sandful, back this week. Matt Hammond's back, Cam Campbell, so Scott Henning's back from suspension. So look, we're going to make some changes again, and hopefully we can produce 4 quarters of footy.
Some big ends for the Belconnen Magpies, as we just heard, and of course Ainslie, well, you can't put them down too much. They know how to win, and they've certainly done it in the past, so that will be an absolute belter. Get out there and support your teams. Round 6 of the North East Australian Football League should be an absolute ripper, and of course there are plenty of ways you can keep in contact with us on Twitter, NEAFL_Eastern, and of course on Facebook as well for videos, photos, news, fantastic, and of course neafl.com.au. Matthew Lokan, that wraps it up. Thanks for joining us on the show, mate.
Fantastic, I've loved it.
A very entertaining club by the looks of it over there with Wombat
Yeah,
Weekly.
we've got a fantastic group at the moment. Obviously on field we need to improve, but we've definitely seen some improvement this year, and looking forward to the rest of the year.
All right, mate, can't wait to see you in action. Of course, 4 goals last weekend. How's the shoulder just quickly, all right?
Yeah, it's fine, mate.
All right,
No worries.
Brilliant, mate. All right, we will leave it there. Thanks for your company. And from us here at NEAFL Eastern Footy Talk, we'll see you next week. Bye for now.